Hanji guys. So yeah, let us start with the overall syllabus part. From the given chapters, the first section that we will be talking about is strategy. Now, of course, for this particular set of SBL paper, you have the study text for your reference. Now, this is very vast. We would not be able to cover the entire study text in the class. What we will do is I will share certain PowerPoint presentations with you, the ones that we are referring to in the class. And of course, there are a set of ACCA India provided study notes for the SBL paper. That's a roughly 230 pages document that you guys can refer in terms of revising the entire syllabus. Whenever we will be talking about any model, just remember you do not have to explain the model in the paper. What you have to do is you just have to apply it to the case scenario. Okay, I'll kind of repeat this statement a lot of times, but we do not have to memorize the models. We just have to understand them in order to apply them to a particular case scenario. Okay, so I will be providing you with these set of summary notes. And of course, we have the exam kit plus the specimen papers and the past exam papers. In terms of focus, I would want to, take the exam kit a little lower down the order, because again, not a lot of exam worthy questions are there. But this is what your focus area should be for the examination. Okay. Still, very practically, we will discuss about a lot of other factors. We'll discuss about a lot of case studies. We'll discuss about a lot of companies while going through the entire set of syllabus. So we have a lot of sections. Before we just start, if you could tell me what is the status with respect to your books, your study text exam kit. All of you have that.
It's yet to be dispatched by the team, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
Sandeep
filled the
says.
form of Google form, but I think it's still on the way.
Okay. Okay. I think some of you have got the textbooks.
So some of us haven't purchased it yet. So which one would you recommend?
Go in for Kaplan. Go in for Kaplan for this.
Okay.
Sir, I have the book from last class. It will work.
It's better to get the updated version. And definitely, I'm sure some of you have got the soft copy as well available for the updated kit.
I have the PDF.
Anyone has got the PDF available? The
I
updated
have the
one?
PDF. I have the PDF. I will share it on Discord.
Okay, perfect. Acha, and another thing is I hope everyone is there on Discord.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whoever is not there on Discord, just get in touch with your coordinators, be it Bhavna, Makarand, Rashesh, whoever are you in touch with. Just ask them to get yourself joined on the Discord group, and whoever has got the soft copy, they can please share it on the Discord, both the study text and the revision kit. Chalo ji. So for today, we are still focusing upon the PPTs as of now. I would need a little bit of input from you guys. You can see a list of the name of the companies, or a list of logos on your screen? If you could just tell me about what went correct for them or what did not go correct for them in terms of the strategy. So we'll talk about Kodak. I think most of you should be familiar with this. What was Kodak?
Yes. It's a
The
camera
camera with
right?
the roll.
Okay,
Uh, they used to have like a roll. We have to purchase rolls to operate the camera, but they did not update with to the digital version, which is used nowadays like memory cards.
okay, okay. So Kodak was the market leader. It was the best company in terms of cameras. It has the best technology in terms of the color reproduction. So all the tourist destinations wherever you used to go, everyone, all the tourists, everyone used to have these Kodak cameras, and they had these shops selling the reels wherein you just click a picture and you're not even sure how the picture has turned out, but it's there on the reel, and once it gets printed, that's when you'll have a an idea about what was clicked, how it was clicked. Again, it was a market leader, but what went wrong with this company?
I think it's just the change in technology.
They
Like
did
we
not
have
update
always.
themselves.
They did not update
Update.
themselves. Okay,
Yeah.
there was a changes in technology, but they were a market leader. I mean, you're doing something and you're doing that perfectly. Do you still have to change?
Uh, there were substitutes like other companies that Nikon and all they used to they have that like camera where they can see the pictures upright,
Hmm.
and they were cheaper quality, and the cost of purchasing roll was higher every time that we use a Kodak camera. But on the other hand, the Nikon and other companies gave the like memory card where to store the camera, where to
Okay.
store pictures and videos. That
Okay.
was cheap for the customer to buy.
Okay. Perfect. And I'm not sure how many of you would know, but Kodak was, of course, one of the first ones to identify the prospect of a digital photography. The term digital photography, what do you think, that this was just coined out of the blue? They did not have any idea that this kind of a technology will be there in the future, but they were one of the first ones to identify that yes, the future might be in terms of the digital technologies, but they did not still want to change themselves. Why? Because this particular livelihood, they knew that their reels, the selling of the reels, the getting the printing, getting the photography color intonations, that was their core strength. And in terms, if people shift to the digital framework, their entire reels model will go in for a toss. Of course, it was very simple to prepare a camera that could support the digital technology. That wasn't a case key. When they knew that the competitors were also doing this, even they could have shifted to the digital technology. But they did not want to lose out the revenue from the reel business, which was vast. Because it is, think about, there are 10 people, they'll just buy 10 cameras. But look at the amount of reels that they will buy from the company, which will be a major source of revenue.
They would be in turn self-sabotaging their own products, right? That's why they
Correct.
did not go for the digital versions.
Correct. Because they had to lose out quite a good chunk of their revenue.
Yeah.
So that was one strategy that they chose to ignore. The new trend did not work out in terms of their favor. What about Nokia? I'm sure Nokia also, a lot of you will be familiar with.
Failed to adapt.
Failed
Yeah,
to
they
adapt.
chose Windows instead of Android.
So there are two different things that we are saying as of now. One is we are saying failed to adapt, and the second we are saying that they chose Windows over Android.
I think they thought that they were the market leaders at that point, so they could just not adapt to any other softwares. Like there was Android and Apple's iOS coming in, but they did not think that they had to move. And by the time they realized their mistake, it was too late because many of them had already moved to Android and iOS.
Correct, correct. But what about the Windows smartphone? Why did the Windows strategy did not
The
work?
app
Because if you
developers did not come into Windows.
perfect, 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 perfect. Now, if you talk about Windows, now they could have they chose a strategy which did not work for them. If you talk, that was a very calculated move, by the way, because switching to Windows, we already have majority of the laptops work on Windows platform. Now, if they were able to kind of have a good ecosystem between the laptops and the mobile phones, both working on a Windows platform, and Windows has been there since centuries, that would have been a amazing ecosystem that could have worked. But that was one strategy that did not work in their favor. Earlier, they were working on Symbian. Now, Symbian again, they were very good phones, but not quite in line with what the market was offering. When they chose for Windows, now the app developers, because all the apps that get developed, they also have to be synchronized as per the operating system. So the first preference for all the app developers is always iOS, because iOS, the advantage is a lot of phones work on the same platform, same iOS version running across majority of the phones. So it is very simple for the app developers to develop an app for the iOS. When it comes to Android, now each of the phone manufacturers have their own skin on top of the Android. So what they'll have to do is they'll have to prepare an app for stock Android, and then they'll have to modify that app for to work seamlessly on each of the phones. So there are multiple iterations that we have to do for Android. Same thing was happening for Windows. Windows, now that became the third priority because very less users came to the Windows platform. App developers did not come to the platform because the users were not there, and users did not come to the platform because apps were not present on the Windows phone. So all these factors coming in sync did not work for Nokia. So that was another example of a failed strategy for Nokia. What about Apple? Try to match up Apple and BlackBerry, because BlackBerry itself was again a market leader.
I think BlackBerry was famous for its BBM service.
Okay,
So I think it thought that it could just continue using it because that is its unique selling point kind of thing. So it would just continue using it while Apple users had moved to iMessage and WhatsApp. I think one of the reasons.
correct, correct. One of the reasons, yes, but BBM, of course, BBM was there for the youth in terms of chatting and getting the recharges done, and the company was earning huge profits from the BBM services as well. The biggest selling point for BlackBerry was the encryption that it provided, because no one else could actually see the messages that were being exchanged on the BlackBerry platform, or the data that was being shared among the BlackBerry users. It was super encrypted. But with the government interventions coming into the picture and the government interferences, that encryption standard had to be lowered. And essentially, Apple also coming into the picture with the best of the devices, a bigger screen, and easy navigation, that led to the overall downfall of BlackBerry and iOS coming out.
I think so. The BlackBerry downfall was more because of WhatsApp.
Because of
Because
WhatsApp?
yes, earlier, for example, if you need encryption, you need to buy a BlackBerry. Just you can't buy any other phone other than BlackBerry. But then the WhatsApp came into the picture, and WhatsApp was providing same sort of encryption among all the devices. Doesn't matter it's a cheap or expensive one. You have it in all.
And of course, it provided a better connectivity as well, because BPM was restricted to just the BlackBerry platforms,
You have to
and
pay money for BBM. The
you
worst
had to
thing
pay
was that.
money as well.
And I think even the WhatsApp used to charge 50 rupees, but nobody, I think so, ever have paid that money.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet,
Indians
not
just do
yet,
not
not yet.
like to pay any money. Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah. So again, a variety of reasons leading to, maybe a increase in sales for the company, or completely, the company is getting wiped out. The company is becoming being market leaders. If you talk about the telecom industry as well, just a few years back, before Geo entered into the picture, Geo entered the market, we had so many players. We had Airtel, Aircel, Telenor, Uninor, so many telecom providers, and they were charging good sum of money. Majority of the players were in profits. And now if you see, there are just two or three telecom providers that are left. Now, these are things that keep on happening because there are certain decisions that the company takes, as well as there are certain decisions that are happening outside the boundaries of the company. That is, maybe there's a change in a government policy, there's a change in a competitor's strategy, there's a change in a technology. All of these factors coming together, they impact the overall existence of a company. I'm not even using the word profitability over here, I'm using the term existence, because we've seen big companies earning billions of dollars and immediately going out of the market. Again, we can have a detailed discussion on n number of companies and n number of strategies being followed by each of the company, but the idea is, at the end of the day, it is just the strategy that we are talking about. Okay, so similarly for you guys, what the overall essence, or what the overall takeout is, you should be in a position to kind of understand. Let us say you're given a case study in a particular paper, you should be able to comprehend what are the factors that are working in favor of the company and what are the factors that are not working in favor of the company. And based upon your analysis, maybe you can provide in a solution, you can provide in a recommendation to the company that these are the future steps that the company should take. That is the overall, concept of getting to know strategy. Now, in order to do this, what we will have to do is we will have to understand what are the different factors that impact the strategy of the company, or what are the different models that the company might use to develop a strategy. Okay, so this was just a background. We'll move on to the next one. Yeah, now this particular diagram that is there in front of you guys, this is the base for your strategy concept. Okay, when I talk about the term strategy, what do we mean by strategy? Hanji, what do we mean by the term strategy?
Action plan.
Approach.
Okay,
Or something like framework.
sorry,
A framework.
it's a framework. Okay,
Basically, the actions that the company would undertake to achieve its end goals.
to achieve the end goals. Okay, it's a long-term perspective or a short-term perspective?
It depends on the objective, right?
Okay, but strategy should be long-term. Generally, what do you think? It should be, if let us say you want to develop a strategy for your company, or you have a startup option, what would you want to think? You want to think that my startup should survive for the next 3-4 months, or at least for the period of next 3 to 5 years?
Ideally, it should be medium to long term.
Medium to long term? Definitely, yes. Strategy, whenever I'm talking about, it is generally considered to be long term. The period can, of course, vary, but roughly we can say at least 3 to 5 years down the line, what do I want? Where do I want to reach? That is what the companies have to comprehend. That is what the companies have to study. So, what are the planning that is involved? What are the steps that I should take? What is the idea, behind the companies reaching their mission? Each and every company, if I talk about, be it Reliance, Tata, Airtel, any company that you talk about, you just go to the website of the company and search the mission statement. Okay, that will be the key area on why the company is in existence. What does the company want to do? What is the overall objective of the company coming into the picture? That is the mission statement of the company. Now, in order to reach that particular position, what the company will have to do is they will have to look for various strategies. They will have to search for various models. They'll have to think about how exactly can they achieve their mission. Okay, so a strategy, of course, involves three particular phases. One is my strategic position phase, one is my strategic choice phase, and the last one is an action phase. Okay. In a very layman terms, if I talk about, ठीक है, आप हो यहाँ पे दिल्ली में हो, आपको जाना है मुंबई. Okay, you're in Delhi, you want to reach to Mumbai, you want to go to or any place else as well. You have to analyze, boss, what is my position as of now? Do I have the funds to reach Mumbai? Am I physically fit? Am I mentally fit to travel alone? Are the flight options open, or the government has again initiated a lockdown? What exactly is my position as of now? Once you analyze your position that, okay, boss, I am in a good position to reach Mumbai, I have the funds available, or let us say the government has started the railways or the flight networks, then think about what are my choices? How do I reach my particular destination? Should I go via road? Should I go via rail? Should I go via air? Should I use a vessel? How exactly can I reach that particular destination? Among these available choices, what you'll have to do is you will have to choose the best choice that is available. So for example, you say because airways is the shortest and the fastest route, and it's not very expensive as compared to the railways. So what you'll essentially do is this is your strategic choice phase. And once you have chosen this particular strategy, you implement it and you reach your destination. Let us suppose you chose this particular strategy, you chose of going via air to your destination, but en route there was a breakdown. Your airplane had to land. Let us say it landed at Jaipur or any other place for that matter. Now again, what you'll have to do is you'll have to repeat the steps. You'll have to analyze again what exactly is now your position, what are the choices now that you have to again reach your destination. It's a never ending linear chain that we're talking about. This was from a travel perspective. Let us talk about from a company perspective as well. Yeah. Let us say the company that is in existence, the mission is maybe to bring connectivity to everyone. When I say connectivity, I'm talking about by way of telecom lines, internet lines, providing in software applications, bringing in connectivity, internet to everyone. That's the mission statement of the company. Okay. Now, of course, for doing this, the company will require certain funds. The company will always also aim for profits, because these profits can again be reinvested in the company to bring better connectivity to a much larger audience. So for this is the mission statement of the company. The company, what will do is they will do a strategic position analysis, that what is their position as of now. Now, when covering the position analysis, first thing that the company should check is what is it that the stakeholders want from my particular company? When I say stakeholders, majorly I'm talking about the shareholders along with the other employees, customers, suppliers, government, uh, trade unions, all the stakeholders. What is it that they want? Or let us say, whatever action do I take, will that make my stakeholders happy or unhappy? So you'll have to do a stakeholder analysis. You'll also have to consider, do you have the funds internally? Do you have the adequate management? Do you have the staff strength? Do you have the employees who are ready to do the particular work? So that's an internal appraisal. Within my company, do I have the strength to reach my mission? You'll also have to check the external environment. So when I say the external environment, you'll have to check, boss, how is the uh, uh, how's the government reacting to my policies? I hope there's not another lockdown coming into the picture. I hope the interest rates are favorable, or let us say I have to make some foreign exchange payments. So I hope my currency is not getting devalued. Correct. So thinking about outside the company will be an external appraisal. Once you've covered this strategic position analysis, you'll move on to the strategic choice phase. In the choice phase, you'll have to set your objectives. These objectives should be in line with my mission statement. For example, okay, now this is an example that is given out for you guys. For example, my objective is to increase profit by 20%. How can I do this? How can I increase my profits by 20%?
Reduce cost or reduce wastage.
Okay, reduce cost, reduce wastage.
Or you can
Organize it
increase your selling prices, or either you can decrease your costs.
Okay, increasing selling prices if possible, of course.
If
Before
possible.
increasing my selling prices, I'll also have to check what my competitors are charging for a similar service or a similar good.
Attempt to increase the volume of sales by providing, say, better offers on the products.
Okay, increasing the volume of sales. Now, for increasing the volumes as well, I've got two options. One is what I refer to as an organic growth. When I say organic growth, what do I mean is whatever profits that my company is generating, I reinvest those profits in my own company and try to increase the volumes. That is one option. The other one can be acquisition. I want to increase my profits by 10 to 20%. Let me acquire a company which has a sizable profit. Once I acquire that company, their profits becomes my profits. So if I have the funds available, or if I can arrange the funds to acquire a particular company, maybe of a similar nature, similar business, I can go in for the acquisition as well. Okay, so yes, we discussed about cost control. We discussed about increasing selling prices if possible. We discussed about organic growth. We discussed about increasing volumes by acquisition. Now these are what? These are all the strategic options that I have. Depending upon my circumstances, depending upon my research, what I'll have to do is I will have to make a choice. I will have to choose one strategy. I cannot choose all the options available as of now. Or if possible, I can go in for one or two choices, whatever is the, the allowable preference over there. So, but I will have to make a strategic choice. And once I've chosen my particular strategy, I will implement that. This is known as my action phase. Implement. As soon as I've implemented the strategy, again, I will have to put on a strategic control over here. I'll have to check whether my strategy is helping me meet my mission or not. If not, then I'll have to revise my strategic plans. So one example of a strategy control is checking out, what was the budgeted figures and what are the actual outcomes that are there. So let us say my budget was to increase the production by 20 units per day, but actually I was able to increase the production by only 18 units per day. So getting a comparison done that whether whatever strategy that I've chosen, is it helping me to reach my mission or not? Any doubts that we have as of now?
No, sir.
Okay. So in a nutshell, what we've discussed is that there are three phases to a strategy: the strategic position, the strategic choice, and the strategic action. Of course, it is a never ending change, because even when we have implemented a particular strategy, we still have to put on certain controls and we'll have to check whether my strategy is helping me meet my mission or not. Now, this particularly model that is there in front of you, this is not a part of your syllabus. This is the base for your strategy. What we have to study now is what are the various models through which we can conduct an internal appraisal? What is the model that we can use to conduct a stakeholder appraisal? And what is the model that we can use to conduct a external appraisal? Okay. तीन आपके मॉडल्स यहाँ पर आ जाएंगे. ऑब्जेक्टिव्स के लिए बड़ा ही सिंपल है. आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स कैसे होने चाहिए? आई एम श्योर आप सब लोगों ने ये कहीं ना कहीं तो पढ़ा ही होगा. The objectives should be smart. What do we mean by smart?
Specific,
Specific,
measurable,
measurable,
Yes, achievable
achievable,
realistic.
relevant, and
and time bound.
time-bound.
R is not realistic.
Realistic, relevant, both
Okay.
same things. Now, objectives, of course, they should be specific, that you should know, okay, boss, increasing profits is not a specific objective. Increasing profits by 20% becomes specific. Okay. It should be measurable as well. It should be achievable. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. You say, boss, increasing profits by 500%. That it's not a magic wand that I have that, okay, the profits are increased. It should be achievable. They should be relevant. They should be relevant. When I say relevant, definitely the objectives should be in line with my mission. And lastly, they should be time bound. By what time do you want to achieve your objectives? To reach these objectives, you'll talk about the different strategic options that you have. In a case study, when I talk about, generally the strategic options are given to you. Okay. If the strategic options are by chance not given, you can always think about mergers, acquisitions, organic growth. You can think about cost reductions. Okay. Again, one or two specific models that we have, we'll discuss those as and when they come. Then comes my strategic choice. Whenever there is a question about a strategic choice, or you have to make a, they're given 2-3 strategies are given and you'll have to choose a particular strategy. One best model that you have is SAF. So all the 3 strategies that are there, that are available, strategic options, check which is the most suitable one, which is the most acceptable one, and which is the most feasible one. Suitability, acceptability, and feasibility. These are the 3 criteria basis which we will choose a strategy. Now, this particular diagram that was there in front of you, this is more of a linear image that you always start with the position phase, then you go to the choice phase, and then you go to the action phase. But the next particular model, that is the Johnson's, Scholes, and Whittington, and it's also referred to as the JSW model. It says that, the strategies are always flexible and they adjust with time. It's not always possible to go in line by line. It's not always possible to go in line by line. Sometimes what happens is, let us say you have implemented or you've made a particular strategy and essentially that strategy is not working out. So instead of getting straight away to the implementation phase, you go back to the strategic analysis or the position phase. Or let us say you've implemented a particular strategy and you're not sure that this strategy is working, you can directly go back to the strategic choice phase instead of going back to the strategic analysis phase. The three phases are the same, but the idea is that you do not have to work in linear manner. You can go from anywhere to any point. It says that all the three dots, they are interconnected and they can be touched upon irrespective of the logical order. That's the J, S, and W model. There's another approach towards strategy that is known as the logical incrementalism approach. Because see, generally, whenever we talk about strategy, we're talking about long-term pictures, we're talking about 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. But what this particular approach says is, boss, it's not always possible to agree on what will happen in the 5-year plan. So what you should do is, instead of just thinking about one big 5-year plan, break that down into smaller chunks and work on 1 year at a time. So let us say, instead of planning for the entire set of 5 years, plan for the next year, then plan for the next year, then plan for the next year, and then plan for the next year. Because, the idea behind this approach is that sitting at point A, you're not sure that what options will be available at point D. There are chances that sitting at point A, you're not sure about changes in technology. And let us say at point D, you have a better option available. You have a better strategic option available. So you would want to wait for that. And it would not be possible for the managers to evaluate all the options sitting at point A to make a decision at point A. So essentially what they agree is that, boss, take small steps, think about the coming year, and then move forward. Another very amazing approach is the freewheeling opportunism. They say, boss, there's nothing known as a planning phase. There's no strategy, nothing at all. Whatever opportunity you get in the market, grab that particular opportunity and use that particular business model. So for example, I have a business, A Limited. Let us say that business is selling bed sheets. Okay. Or let us say, let me change it to a relevant example over here. Let us say my business was in terms of selling paints. I was in the business of manufacturing paints. Immediately what I saw was that there was a virus breakdown, there was a pandemic, and of course during the pandemic no one would want to get their house painted. As of now, no one would want to invite more people, labor inside their house and get their whole house painted, but definitely a lot of people would want to get sanitizers in the house or get sanitization done in the house. Correct. Now, what I will do is, instead of planning over a period of time that I will shift from my business business model to a sanitization business model, I just saw this opportunity for sanitizers. And instead of manufacturing paints, I start manufacturing sanitizers. Of course, there are a lot of risks involved in this particular approach as well. Okay. guys,
ऐसा
I would
काम
want
के
you
नहीं
to.
थे गूंगी ना ऐसा लगा के वहाँ
Okay. Yeah, of course, there are a lot of risks involved in this particular approach as well, because you are well versed with the paints business. You know who the competitors are, what the market behaves like, what should be the pricing opportunities, what should be the pricing strategies, what should be the costing model, who the relevant customers are. But for a sanitizer business, you're completely new. Okay, so of course, it's a risky approach, but because the opportunity was there in the market, you just grabbed that. That's what freewheeling opportunism is all about. Very small models that we discussed as of now. Okay, this was the base model, strategic position, choice, and action. JSW said, "Ki boss, it's not always possible to go in a linear fashion. What will essentially happen is that you will have to connect each of the dot anytime. You can go in any order. For example, a strategy is not working, you'll directly go for strategic choice phase, or you do not want to again go in for the position analysis again and again. Logical incrementalism says, boss, it's not possible for us to plan for the entire set of 5 years. So sitting at point A, I'm not sure what kind of options will be available at point D. What I will do is I'll prepare in a logical manner, in a small incremental manner, based upon my past performance. I will prepare policies for the next year and I will proceed rationally. Freewheeling opportunism says, hey boss, there's no point in planning a lot of things. Whatever opportunities are there in the market, just go ahead and grab those opportunities. Any doubts up till now?
No, sir.
Everyone, sure?
So do we have to remember all of the names?
Essentially, just remember the name and the concept, nothing else. Not the diagrams. Not, the diagrams are just, so that you have a better idea about what I'm exactly talking about. But the names, yes. So for example, the first model, this is not a part of your syllabus. There's no particular name for this particular model as well. Johnson, Scholes, and Whittington, you have to remember the name. Logical incrementalism is, again, it's a very small approach. Freewheeling opportunism is a very small approach. My suggestion for you guys is whatever models that we are discussing, take out a register, just write down the name of the model and probably a small diagram of that particular model or a small example so that you remember what we discussed. Because in this particularly paper, you'll get around hundreds of models that we will be discussing in the class. So it's better from the first class, just write down the name of the model and your diagram along with that. Of course, when we will discuss the questions, the examination questions, you'll have a better idea on how to apply these particular models to a scenario.
sir, are we going to get any hard copies or books for this, or just the soft copies
So
and the presentations we'll have to refer?
I will share the presentations, and of course, along with that, I will share these summary notes with you. So these summary notes, if you talk about, they have all the, so for example, strategy is over here. So all the strategic models and a short summary of what these models are, they are defined over here. Okay, and I suppose someone has already shared the book on the group Discord.
No, actually, the size limit is 8 MB for Discord, and the size of the PDFs are longer. 10
Okay,
MB and 30 MB. Can anyone have? If anyone want, I will share my number. Can WhatsApp me? I will send them.
sure. Or you can probably share the link to the drive as well.
Yeah, Drive.
Okay, I will do that in the evening.
You know, so everyone can download the book from there.
Okay.
Okay. Very quickly before we break for lunch, very generalized topic. What do you think will be the advantages of getting a strategic planning done?
We'll have a proper plan to follow rather than doing randomly things. We will have the action plan for any uncertainties in the future.
Okay. So essentially, you will have a more proactive approach. It will not be a reactive strategy that you guys will be following. You will be well prepared for the future. You will try to comprehend what will go on in the future, and you'll base out your strategies based upon that. Perfect. So that's one. What else?
If there's a proper strategic plan in place, deviations, if any, can be corrected and identified at a better point in time rather than not having an idea at all.
So definitely. So let us say, for example, you have a budget in place. You will be at least in a position to compare what your actual performance is. If you do not have a plan in place, you do not know how exactly are you performing. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it in line with the mission? Would you be able to reach your objective, your goal of the organization or not? So unless and until a strategic plan is there, you will not be able to measure your overall performance.
I think it also provides motivation to the people working in the organization because they know what are the targets and where they need to be there.
Definitely. So they will be given an idea about what exactly are they working for. In which direction they have to think about, whether their performance is actually bringing any benefit to the organization or not. So they will, of course, be very well much motivated. Of course, the organization will be much better coordinated. So, for example, you know, let us say my sales staff goes to a customer and agrees that, boss, I will be selling you 1 lakh units of this particular product A. Now, if they are not in sync with the procurement team or the production team, let us say they agreed this particular order and they came to the production guys and they say, boss, we need 1 lakh units of this particular product. And the production guy says, boss, my yearly capacity is only 80,000 units. So unless a strategy is in place, unless a proper plan is in place, a document is in place, the coordination will not be there among the different departments. So that is also very important. The organization has to be coordinated to bring out the maximum advantage for that particular company. So these are the, of course, the advantages. Any disadvantages for strategic planning?
It takes time.
It takes time, it takes money, it takes resources. If let us say, 5 people are sitting and drafting a strategy for a company, so that means 5 man hours. For let us say they planned for an entire week. Now 8 hours in a day and 40 hours in a week, 5 into 40, 200 hours are spent on the planning part. And of course, there are a lot of costs involved: time, resources, money, a lot of cost involved. What else? I gave you an example that was for the SBL paper. How many hours do you have?
4 hours.
4 hours. Now I tell you guys, ki boss, you have to spend time planning the paper as well, reading the question paper and planning the paper. Think about that you want to plan your answers so precisely that you take 2 hours for planning. How much time do you have for execution now?
execution is pushed or less time is available for execution.
So if you're spending too much time on planning part, you would not have time to execute your plans. That is also one of the drawbacks. Another can be, let us say you chose you thought like crazy and discussed about all the possible strategies, and you chose a particular strategy. Okay, you said, "Ki boss, this is the particular strategy that I would want to choose." Now, after a period of time, you have a better opportunity available in the market, but because you spent so much time on this particular strategy that you do not want to change from that. So unwillingness to change, unwillingness to adapt, or very slow to react to the change in circumstances. And these are the possible disadvantages that we have in terms of a strategic planning.
Sir, just to add something.
Yeah.
Sir, yeah, as you said that unwillingness to change or something like that. So it can be disadvantage can be like if there is some unwillingness to change the strategy, so employees can also be burdened at the same point of time. So because the strategy might be wrong or they might be overburdened with the work. So can it be a disadvantage for that? For them?
Definitely. So I think what you're trying to say is, let us say you chose the incorrect strategy. The strategy you chose was not working in favor of the organization. So for example, if we take the example of Kodak or Nokia that we, for that matter, we discussed. Now the company is heavily focused. They're working a lot in terms of developing the Windows platform, but that strategy is not bringing any results. That strategy is not bringing in profits. That strategy is not bringing in new customers to the company. So definitely the lack of motivation will also be there from the employee. They will feel demotivated. They would not want to work for that particular company where things are not going correct. Okay, chalo ji. So we discussed about the advantages, disadvantages. We discussed about a little bit of models.